Hello everyone and welcome to Director's Vision. I'm your host Ray C, and today we will be reviewing Ari Aster's latest film, Midsommar. Now, Ari Aster is most known for his previous work, Hereditary, which generally got pretty good acclaim within the horror community. Now, I myself personally have not seen this film. Let me know if I should, but I'm not really into horror movies, and I have to say though, for the most part of this film, I was genuinely impressed with some of the technical aspects of this film. But I'm gonna quit bantering and let's get into it. So to briefly summarize, starts off with a nice little a girl who has a bipolar sister. Now this is not a spoiler, this happens within the first 5 minutes of the film, and this bipolar sister decides to commit suicide by exhaust fumes, and she decides also to take her parents with her. And this leaves Danny, that's our main character's name, traumatized. So moving along, she goes to her boyfriend, who is a bit of a douchebag and wants out of the relationship. And obviously he tries to support her, but he's just trying to get out of this relationship. He doesn't want anything to do with it, and his friends are telling him the same thing. And all he's really focused on is his trip to Sweden with his friends. And so he reluctantly invites his girlfriend along, and so they do. They go to this place in Sweden, this little isolated community, and it turns out that this community is not quite what it seems. Yes, we've seen this movie before. It's another cult horror cliche. So let's start off with the entertainment value. So if you're a horror fan, I have to be honest, you're probably not going to like this film. There's not a lot of jump scares, and it is a little slow. Me personally, for a horror film, I did kind of enjoy it. Yeah, it was pretty well done. Like I said, I'll get into all the technical aspects, but for the most part, I really did enjoy this film. But I don't think that people who are used to the typical, like Insidious and whatnot, are gonna really care for this film. So entertainment value, I'm gonna give it a B-. Like I said, it is entertaining, but it is a little slow. Okay, so next up I've got cinematography. Now cinematography in this film was absolutely outstanding. One of the best parts about this film was the cinematography, I gotta say. The cinematography and set design was on point at all times, okay? One of the things that really stood out was the moving shots. There was a lot of great dolly shots. Right from the beginning, there was a dolly shot. It opens up on the telephone and it goes over to the parents in the other room. And great camera shot. Also, there was a lot of mirror shots. Now, it's very common that you see, a mirror shot and then it turns out it's not really a mirror. We've seen that before. But there was one shot when it was actually it was a doorway. Half the frame was a doorway, half the frame was you saw the boyfriend in the desk. And then it turns and then you didn't realize that the boyfriend in the desk was a mirror. And that was really off-putting, and I thought that was a great camera shot. It really set the vibe for the film. Also, there was a moment when they came to Sweden and actually the camera flipped upside down, and I thought that was really neat. That's a little more on artistic quality. I'll give it that. But yeah, I really enjoyed the cinematography. 100%. I'm giving it an A. Okay. Now next up is another thing that I really enjoyed, and that was the editing. The editing was on point, okay? There was nothing wrong with the editing, and there was one great moment that I really enjoyed. It was, they were all sitting in the apartment, right? And they're having this conversation, and one of the friends brings up something, and then that reminds Danny of her family, and she gets upset, and she runs to the bathroom. So then you got this overhead camera shot of following her, and then it goes into the bathroom, and then it transitions immediately to when she's on the airplane. You can tell it's on the airplane because she's in a different outfit and a different, a different door. And I was like, this is a great camera shot. This is a great transition to the next scene. All right, absolutely great. I'll be honest, there was a lot of good transitions as well throughout the film. That was the one that really stuck out to me. There's also some cool little editing moments here and there within the film. But yeah, it eventually, as the film progressed, it got a little rudimentary, but that's kind of the theme of this movie. As it progresses, it gets a little more cliche, but like I said, we'll get into all that. So for the editing, I'm gonna have to give it another A. It was really, really well done. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got the visual effects. Now, there wasn't anything particularly groundbreaking about the visual effects in this film. There was one moment when she was sitting on it by the tree, Danny, and she was tripping on mushrooms, and then she had her hand in the grass, and the grass was peeking through her hand. It looked a little but it wasn't not that bad, so I'm not gonna criticize it for that. The other really big instances of visual effects was when there were a lot of drug use in this film, okay, and they used visual effects to illustrate that, and they're all very simple. It wasn't anything crazy, but like I said, it worked within the context of the film. There was nothing wrong with it, so I'm gonna give visual effects a B. All right. So now I'm going to get really, really nitpicky, okay? The writing. The writing was atrocious, okay? The dialogue was full of exposition, just awkward, unnatural dialogue. Really, really poorly written, in my opinion. Also, the story, not original. We've seen this a million times, okay? You know, I had high hopes for this film. I thought, you know, maybe it might be a little different. But no, it really wasn't. Another thing that really was annoying about the writing was the characters. The characters, there's nothing wrong with using character archetypes, okay? But don't make it so obvious, okay? That's the key. You don't make it obvious, all right? You had Danny, you know, she was the traumatized one, okay? Like I said, nothing wrong with that. And you know what? They did that character well done. That was a good character. But the boyfriend, oh my God. Okay, I'll get into his performance later, but his writing was he had the worst writing by far. Next up, you had the douchey guy, we all have seen the horror movie, you know, that douchey guy, frat guy, who's all about, you know, just getting women and whatnot. And yeah, that was Will Poulter in this film, and he had some pretty cringy dialogue, I must say. You know, it was very poorly written, and yeah, I'm giving it a C- for writing, okay? But next up, let's get into the performance. Now, these actors had to work with a script, and most of them did a terrific job, okay? The actress who played Danny was one of the best actors in the film. Another great actor was the guy who played Josh, and then obviously, I mean, Will Poulter's performance wasn't particularly great, but it wasn't his fault. Again, it was the dialogue. It was the way it was written, 100%. So, however, the guy who played the douchey boyfriend, Jack Reynolds, aka Budget Chris Hemsworth, he was terrible. I'm just gonna go out and say it. He was awkward. He was not believable at all. Like I said, he had really, really bad writing, really bad dialogue, but he did not pull it off at all, and I have to criticize for that. So for the performances, I'm gonna have to give them a C+ because he dragged down their performances that much. So next up, I want to talk about the artistic quality, and this is where I talk about, you know, with respect to cinema, you know, how does it stack up against some of the greats? How is it unique? What does this film do differently? And I gotta say, it does little things here and there differently, but not a whole lot. Within the horror genre, I will give it respect, okay? Like I said, it was not a particularly scary movie, very disturbing, but overall, I'm gonna, for artistic quality, I'm probably, let me see what I wrote. Yeah, I have to give it a C+. I think that the director made some great decisions in the beginning that made it unique, but it didn't carry over. As the story progressed, it got more and more and more cliche, and I don't particularly like that, and I have to mark it down for that. So overall, did I enjoy this film? Yes, I did. It was slow, but I was entertained by it. There was things that I didn't particularly care for, but in the end, it was, for a horror movie, not bad. Pretty good. Okay? Every technical aspect was on point, and I have to give it praise for that. So would I recommend it to... who would I recommend it to? I don't know. If you like disturbing psychological thrillers, you might like this film. I think if you're a horror fan, you're probably not going to like this film. It's not really that scary, and you're probably going to be bored. So overall, I'm going to give it a B-. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have you seen Midsommar? Do you agree with my opinion? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what I should review next. All right? Anyway, till next time.